Welcome everyone to the Evergreen Cataloging Interest Group February 2025 meeting. I am Jennifer Weston, facilitator of this fine group, and as always, you are welcomed here by the organizing committee whose names are listed at the top of the agenda. And apologies for getting this agenda out extremely late. I sent the reminder yesterday, but the agenda just went out within the last hour. So presumably you have the agenda, and that's why you're here, but I put a link to the agenda in the chat as well. Let me see if there's anybody new. If we have anybody new, the agenda is open for everybody to take notes on, so you can make edits as we go along. It rather magically becomes our notes that then gets posted to the wiki. And I said I'm the facilitator, but Carol has helping me and is the co-facilitator of this group because she will make sure that everything gets posted to the wiki if I forget. So thank you in advance, Carol, for that. So today we don't have a formal presentation. I thought we'd just spend a little bit of time celebrating bug squashing, which just ended, and look at some of the things that were included in the bug squashing review. And if you're not familiar with that, we can talk a little bit about that. And then just some general updates, because we have a lot going on in our libraries and a lot going on with our interest groups too, much of which intersects with cataloging, as usual, because cataloging is the heart of Evergreen. We all know that. But we do have a couple of interest groups that have very specific things that I wanted to highlight today, which means there's lots of time for conversation. So we are still a rather small group today. I'm always monitoring the chat, but if you want to turn your microphones on, that's fine too, whatever works for you today. So just going through our standing agenda items, there's the usual link to the wiki. It's always a work in progress. The release notes are here. Since the last time we met in January, there have been point releases for 3.14 and 3.13, so those are linked there. Since the last time we met, 3.12 has been moved to security only, which just means there aren't going to be any more point releases for 3.12 unless there's a security issue. So I've still got links to 3.11 and 3.12 there. So let me pause here for a moment. One thing that is missing from this list is the tabular release notes. And Elizabeth, since you're here, I just want to thank you in front of the entire group. It is woefully out of date, the tabular release notes. It's one of the things that I was keeping track of, and it just has not been on my to-do list for so long. So Elizabeth is showing her lovely face right now. I want to say thank you to you. I want to say if anybody else wants to help us, that would be fantastic. Elizabeth, I
Yes,
don't know if you want to.
please.
Yes, say
Join
anything.
us, join
Yeah,
us.
please, please, please. We are a great fun group. It's therapeutic. It
It
is.
is. It is. It's good for like the end of the day when your brain has been taxed on other things and you can just link a couple things and
Yeah.
chip away at it.
Right. Read release notes, copy over and put a little summary, a little link to it. But I am now a couple of releases, I don't mean point releases. I mean releases like 3.13 and 3.14 are not included. So you will not see our work in progress. It's on a separate document entirely, which is why it's not linked here. But if you would like to join us in all the fun, we will happily provide you with the link to the document that is a work in progress. So next month update on where we are with that, if not before. So I guess I could put the link back in there. But thank you so much. And again, anybody that wants to help, just half an hour a month would be great just to make sure that we get it updated because it's a lot of work for one person, speaking from experience. So a committee would be very nice to work on that. Okay. So latest releases on the wiki, I'm pretty sure that's probably not updated if you just linked on there. Speaking of not keeping things updated, I put the December notes, but I don't have the January link there. This is just a quick way for us to have a special place for catalogers to find what's the latest. So we'll get that updated today so that it points to 3.14 and 3 and 3.13.8. It's always a good time to remind you that there are community demo servers and to make a note of which version these are on. So Equinox does have a general demo server that's up running 3.14. Now it's on 0.2.
Yes, the page still
Lovely.
says 3.14.1, but when I was on it yesterday, it is in fact 3.14.2, according to the about.
Yeah. Okay, great. So then what are we about? So 3.14.2 and 3.14.3 just came out. So we'll keep track and see if see if it gets updated to 3. I'll ask. Okay. And Mobius has a server that's there that always gets updated for each bug squashing. So it should be updated now. And Czech Republic has theirs up there, the 313. It has the translations in it. If you haven't looked at this, I encourage you to do so. Their 313 demo server, because it's something that we don't think about, but it does take a lot of work to maintain. And so we're very glad that continue to have that option. And then, of course, the logins there for use at any time with any of the demo servers. And if you are helping out with bug squashing, you will have had access to those 2 sets of logins as well. It just gives you the way to log in, different permission groups sort of things too, in addition to just your admin login. Okay. Anything else about version release? I'm just going to keep on with the agenda. Watching notes. Development roadmap 315 is, of course, plugging right along because we just had bug squashing week, and I've got the link to coordinate our discussion a little later, to facilitate that discussion a little later, but still on track for 315. Let's see if there's anybody here that's on that release team. Ruth's not here today. Martha, Jason, Llewellyn, Andrea. Nope. Okay. Well, we'll continue to say thank you to them, even though they're not here. And as a reminder, and I've got a link further on, this group does collaborative code review. Well, not just this group. Anybody's welcome to attend collaborative code review on Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Jane Sandberg leads those, and they just look at pull requests that need to be reviewed before they're committed. Okay. So some celebrations. Bug Squashing Week just happened. We'll get to that in a moment. We'll look at some of the results. Feedback Fest will be the next big event coming at the end of March. So we'll have the opportunity to see even more what's going on as 315 is being planned. There's a link to the conference, and I have a little note about that later on too, to talk about proposals, because that deadline has passed, but we'll talk about some of the things that were submitted, some of the things we might want to do outside of the conference. There's a big events coming up. Note about the catalogers map. While it has not yet made it to the wiki, I am continuing to get updates. So here's the map. Every time I get a new update, you're all going to see the map again, because I like to show the map. But here's the map of people that have self-identified as wanting to be included. Obviously not names, but just locations. I like to get the whole map. There you go. So we can cross the ocean and see all of us. If your location is not on this map, it's just a nice way to say when we get together as a cataloging interest group, we are stretch across every geographical location you see on this map. So make sure you're represented. Send me a note. You don't even have to send me a note. You can just add yourself to this list right there, and I will make sure that the map gets updated. And I've updated it as of this morning, so everybody that had requested to be added has been added. A little way to celebrate community. All right, speaking of celebrating community, here's where we get to talk about what's going on in your libraries. Any updates? Carol, you were saying before we started the recording that you're updating in October. And now I can ask that question. Is there a bug that's having you change from April to October?
There were enough issues with templates that could be worked around, but we decided that it wasn't worth trying to explain to our 160 libraries.
Mm-hmm.
And also the item template / item notes, alerts, tags, development work that Equinox / ECDI is working on is not going to be ready for April. Not that that's, they've said that, but it's not going to be ready for April.
Yeah.
We are currently testing that development work, and I don't know, there's 50 plus bugs, and that's only the ones that are on their ticketing service. They've been holding back some just to give Equinox time to work on
Yes.
those.
Mm-hmm.
But it is starting to look something like it's usable with the work they're
That's
doing
neat.
on it. It just, when we first got it, I, called one of my fellow staff here and just, what? What? Actually, it wasn't. It was after, because I was away the first week after we got it. So I came back after they had started
Oh,
testing.
mm-hmm. To a
So,
surprise. Yep.
there's a lot going on there. And yeah, we were thinking about upgrading to 314 something in April, but just decided that not at this
Yep.
time. But everything should be ready for October, because again, we're still on 3.7, which was a while ago.
Yeah, that's going to be such a
Talking
huge
about item
shift.
alerts and notes improvements.
Yeah, I was
Yes. Oh,
just taking a note what that. I think you said item alerts. I thought I just
I did.
captured it
Yes.
for the notes.
Alerts, notes, and tags. That's the other
And
one.
tags.
Tags. Yes.
And tags. I am looking forward to the point where it's in good enough shape so that you can just demo it for all of us.
Yes.
Yes. My fingers are crossed for March so that when we get together as a group, we'll be able to.
They've extended the timing testing period
Mhm.
because there's stuff, and
Yep,
they may
because
continue to. So
it's iterative, isn't it? I mean, you find bugs, you have to change them and test them, and yeah,
yeah.
it just keeps going on and on. Yeah,
So
I'm
we'll
really.
see.
So Elizabeth, I hope that answered the question about why the delay.
Yep.
This
Yeah,
is
I
why we're
was
here is to
curious.
yeah to share that kind of
Thank you.
information too. So at this point, items, alerts, and notes is maybe going to be included in 315.
I think that's what they were aiming for.
Okay.
What,
Yeah,
whether
that's
it's
my
in like
understanding.
315, the initial, or
Right.
ends up being added to it. But that's
Yeah.
what I think they were aiming for.
Yeah. Nice. Well, and I'm still looking at 374. This will be huge for you. As if I needed to tell you that. Anybody else? Okay. Bibliomation. Anybody have Bibliomation? You can be upgrading this month. 313, but you've been testing for a while.
Yes, we just upgraded this past weekend
How did it go, Mary?
fairly smoothly. It was kind of a bump with Overdrive and their connection to us and their protocols about new patrons that kind of blocked people, but that was us, not, I mean, them, not us.
Right.
Um, I've had one help desk ticket regarding invoicing so far, and it was matter of a typo of a penny. She couldn't close the invoice, and so I was like, she needed another set of eyes to find that penny, I guess. So that's not so bad.
No, no, that's not bad at all. We'll take a typo problem any day.
Yeah. Um, yeah, the other department, I guess, they're like I said, most of their tickets regarded connecting to Overdrive.
Yeah. And which is a
So I
headache
think it's
in
gone
itself.
fairly smoothly.
Yeah.
Jess, are
Yeah.
you here?
Hmm.
I don't know if she wanted to add her 2 cents if she's here. Well, it looks like she didn't make it. Okay,
No,
well,
well, she's
it's
on the
just me
list.
then.
Yeah. Jess is logged in, but may not have a mic connected.
Maybe, yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our report.
That's good news. That's very good news. And I know that you were testing before, so once they turned it on for you, you knew what
Testing
to
and
expect.
documenting, and unfortunately something's wrong with our
Training.
WordPress site, so we can't upload our new chapters right now.
What?
So I don't know. It's a whole separate issue.
Yeah.
Um, so our tech guys are gonna take that down and hopefully get it whipped into shape so I'll be able to
Yeah.
share all my wisdom with everybody.
Lovely. It's those bumps in the road I think that are the most frustrating. Yeah, I've got it. Yeah. Got to share something. What do you mean I can't share it? Lovely. Well, congratulations on your upgrade. I know it took a lot of planning. Let's see. Anybody else? We had some November grades. Anything else that's coming on? Um, mhm. Kate, you're coming up the end of the month, but you've been
We are
testing a lot too.
ready to upgrade, yes. And
What?
we've just implemented Aspen and Message B as well.
Hmm?
And all is going well.
Like, you want to talk a little about Message B? Because I think that might be new to some people in the cataloging group.
Yeah, it as you know, as those of us with Evergreen know, sometimes SMS messaging is kind of wonky. And this is just a third party messaging service that makes calls and Well, I don't know. I think there is a call capability. I don't know if any of us use it, but
Yeah, I don't either.
SMS and email messages.
Mhm.
And so far our success rate for messaging is like 98% on the daily. So we're pretty happy with it.
Yeah, 98% is definitely an improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, Elizabeth joined in too that because Pels uses it too. So Elizabeth, are you using the calling functionality?
We are not, but we have some individual libraries that have their own unique management accounts that do the phone
cool.
call component. Yeah, we're only paying as a consortium for the SMS service.
Mhm.
But as Kate said, it has drastically improved our delivery rates, so we're very happy with it.
Thanks for sharing that. I've heard nothing but good things about it, really, once you get it up and running. Carol, you're using it too since last June. Goodness. Very nice to know that it's really extending out. All right, let's see. Who else is upgrading? Anybody else? Oh, you turned on Spanish notices too. That's fascinating. I'll have to check those out. It's nice. So let's see. Anybody else coming up soon? Noble finished theirs in January. Nice. We talked about that. November. Okay. Talked about bibliomation. Are you in two places? You are in two places. Is this copied twice? It is. That's fine. We'll celebrate twice. All right. Let's see. Anybody else? I think that's it. Anybody else? Anything about updates, questions about upgrades? Anything at all you want to talk about upgrades before I pop on to calendar stuff? Okay. Calendar stuff. I've updated this part of our agenda with the different dates that are going on, and I've got some notes afterwards about particular interest groups. Um, and we can talk about those. I'll talk about authorities working group there at the end of the list when we get there. Let's see if there's anything else. I've got bug squashing notes on there. So everybody else is just meeting on their regular schedules, which is nice. No new groups have been added since the last time. We've got lots, which is fantastic. Speaking of lots, we're going to get to the Evergreen conference, but a lot of the interest groups will be meeting on Hackfest Day during the conference. So one of the nice things is even though the Evergreen conference is online, there's the consideration that we don't want people to have to pay to come to an interest group meeting. That's the reason, Hackfest is free. That's the reason a lot of the interest groups are going to be meeting on that last day, which is Hackfest Day. So you'll see that schedule come out sometime this month-ish. So let's talk about a couple updates that I'm aware of. And then, yes, Elizabeth, that's exactly where I was going to start with you. One of the things we talked about last month in this group was link checker, if we could find out more about it. So Elizabeth, if you want to talk a little about what the admin group's going to talk about with link checker, I would love that.
Well, none of us in the group knows how to use it, so we were hoping someone who is currently using it could come and chat about their policies and their workflows on it. So a lot of us have tried it and we're unsuccessful, so we were just hoping to learn a little bit more about it. So if you use it to any degree, please consider joining us to chat about it.
I think we have as many questions as a group as we have answers to share.
And that's fine. We can work through the documentation as a group if no one has a working experience with it. So
I might do that. Mary, I think you and I have talked about that a few times about trying to put together some kind of presentation, but we don't know what it does.
No, I'm backing away from doing presentations. I'm looking to watch someone's presentation.
Right. That's what I meant. Going to presentation.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Well, I think you'll have quite a few people just join up to say, okay, let's all just sit in and figure out what it does because we
It'll
don't
be
know.
a big audience.
Big audience because we don't know either. So it would be nice to just, have a nice working session to figure out what that's like.
Looking for a link checker guru.
We are a link checker. So
Yeah.
that would be next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So yes, let's all go. We'll have a sit in and talk about the link check.
Yep. And I know it just got remodeled or redesigned, so there's new documentation for it, but I still just can't parse the search terms. So
Yeah, every time I've tried to run it, it seems just run forever. And maybe we're just too big. I don't know.
that was my concern as well. So tips and tricks are welcome, are very much appreciated.
I'm just going to leave that note. Are just too big. So if we test it on one of the demo servers. Okay, the rabbit hole today. I won't do that. But yes, let's do that next week.
I think I did get it to run on a community test server, but they're much smaller than we are, so doesn't prove much.
Nope. Because you need it for your data, not demo. Okay, well, there we go. That'll be exciting. Similarly, the permissions working group has invited us to join them on the 25th, which is 2 Tuesdays from now. Tuesdays are a good time to meet. I forgot what time they meet. It's on my calendar, but at 3 p.m. Eastern, talk about cataloging permissions. So the permissions working group has been working through that. This is a good time to join in that conversation as well about how permissions are working currently, make sure they get documented. It's also a good time, and not to hijack any part of the permissions working group at all, but if there are permissions bugs, that wish list bugs, that kind of thing, that we find that it's just not doing what we want it to do, we want to make sure that we've got wish list bugs out there that at least can visualize what we would like. I know that there are a few that we've asked for some more granular permissions, about being able to only update particular parts of the bib record, that sort of thing. That's probably not their focus, but when I hear cataloging permissions, that's what I think. But anyway, so we're certainly invited to that as well.
So I was just going to mention, for the permissions working group, they're kind of going through all the stock permissions and kind of categorizing them. Is this entry level? Is this like a management level? That's kind of what we did for circulation. I'm not entirely sure how we will do it for cataloging, since everyone kind of has different approaches to it, but that's kind of what they're
that'd be nice.
The goal.
And I think so many libraries now have graduated levels of access, whatever you call your beginning access. Can you add holdings, but never ever touch a bib record, and then all the way up to being able to do everything, importing batches and batch edits to bibs, that sort of thing. So it'll be good to have that conversation about that kind of level of, this is an entry level cataloger permission, and make sure that those are really separated up. I think that's an excellent way to do it. Okay. So we got 2 appointments, the 18th at 2. Let me put the 25th at 3. That note on there. Okay. And then I'll update on the authorities. We've got a couple of people here that are also part of the authorities group. So if I miss anything, certainly add to it. Let me just scroll back up and say if there's anything from any of these other groups you want to talk about. Promote, celebrate, toot your own horn is a good thing. I will scroll slowly. Okay. So working group update. The authorities working group is now meeting twice a month, at least between now and May, which is the Evergreen conference. Reason being, it's hard to find a single date for any of these interest groups, certainly that everybody's available, but because this is a working group that needs to work on things to be able to create a documentation, we wanted to split it up so that these 2 dates get practically everybody that has been attending the meetings. So second Mondays at 12 Eastern, third Wednesdays at 1 Eastern. The next one coming up is next Wednesday, the 19th. In general, the second Mondays are going to be when we talk about any kind of business planning, like this upcoming Hackfest, and then would move into just an actual work session on Mondays. Wednesdays will be primarily dedicated to work session, meaning work on the documentation that we've talked about putting together before the Hackfest. So a note here, we're doing some planning for the Hackfest on May 15th. which is the last day of, after the conference. Again, we wanted it to be open and accessible to everyone, which is why it's not an actual conference presentation. We're looking at doing a couple hours presentation and a workshop on that day. So go ahead and mark your calendars for May 15th if you're interested in the authorities workshop that day. Starting to put together some ideas of what that might look like, looking at workflows for authorities, kind of how it works now, and then also looking at using a local thesaurus and then multiple thesauri, and kind of how you can implement that. And then kind of just some of the workarounds that are in place now that Archive has exited the authority control business, and looking at kind of some reports that can replace that from QA, that kind of thing. So it's a general idea now. So I bring it to this group to say, if you have ideas or questions that you would very much like to be included in this community workshop in May, please let us know. Because one of the things we want to do is take some of these questions to developers, and we're looking at partnering with the new dev group to do that, to see if we can't get get as many questions as possible answered about current functionality as possible prior to this workshop. So if we can get questions in advance and send those out, and then have somebody there during the actual workshop day to be able to answer questions too. It'd be good to be able to have the list of questions primed for them instead of kind of asking them coldly, like, on the spot, kind of cold calling questions. Anyway, so if you have ideas and questions, if you cannot attend either the second Monday or third Wednesday meetings, please just send us an email. You can send it to this list or send notes to me and Carol. And like I said, there are others here too in the group. Anything else I've missed there? Anybody else that's been attending those meetings you want to say about the group or the Hackfest planning? Okay. That's it. And again, this is just starting to come together this month. So we've got lots of great ideas now. We just need to put them together for the authorities working group. Okay, so marching right along. Launchpad bugs is a standing item agenda. We just got links to. This is a good time. You don't have to listen to me talk the whole time. It's a great time for you to click on any of these links and be looking at bugs if there's something you want to talk about today. So these are categories we just kind of track and see how many bugs there are in each one of these. I'm not going to click on anything particular today unless there's a bug any of you want to talk about. We certainly will. I did notice that there's a new staff catalog blocker bug. We've had 7 for ages. It feels like probably a year. We've had 7 bugs without workarounds outside the traditional catalog. And now we have a new one. So this is work that it looks like Michelle posted this and Jane Sandberg's working on it, about really the staff catalog search, that library selector, so that you can honor whether or not how things show up or whether they do or not show up. And I clicked on this and I was going to just not necessarily have a conversation now. If there's anybody here that's familiar with this and wanted to talk about it, I wanted to give us the opportunity to do so, because there are a lot of bugs that are kind of coming together, and it's not quite an omnibus yet at this point, bringing lots of different pieces together. But again, I can talk a little about it, but since it showed up as a new staff catalog blocker, I wanted to recognize that. So anybody working on this that wanted to speak to, so if you've done testing at all, would be good to know. So I'm just going to kind of tell you where the status is on this one. And if you, this library selector, we're looking at using a global flag or something similar to a global flag. It says they do not inherit visibility, that kind of thing in the public catalog. The basic purpose of this particular bug is you want to be able to say, whether or not a library should show up in the library selector, on the OPAC, and the staff catalog. Because right now it's primarily a tool for the OPAC public catalogs. Now it's an option to be able to do the same thing in the staff catalog. So if you go through this thread, it's a lot. It's one of the reasons I don't feel informed enough to talk about it, other than I wanted to let you know that this was a thing that's happening, especially since it's got that staff blocker on there, which makes sense if you're somebody that uses that routinely. You want not to show particular libraries, even in the staff catalog, to be able to do a variety of things, add holdings, add patrons, or even that kind of. So there's lots more information here. There was a thread that's last January. There's some requirements there, updates to the requirements, and there's just a lot of discussion. So like I said, I don't feel informed enough to go into a lot of it, but I did want to bring attention to the group. Scan all the way to the bottom of this particular thread. This is where Jane was talking about, she's having to rebase a lot because there are all these different bugs that are tied to it. So it actually links out to another bug that's trying to bring all of that together. Again, my purpose here is just to let you know that this is here. There's her offshoot bug. And then different solutions for how this might be fixed. There. I don't really have anything else to add to that other than my job today was to highlight that. So dancing right along, staff cataloger bugs, regression bugs, always a thing even if it's not bug squashing week, it's great to look at regression bugs, see if they affect you for cataloging. Last time we talked about this batch update parts, and that's now been committed to 315. So very exciting to me to be able to update parts in batches. And then last time and already today, we've talked about the CW Mars is doing testing. Carol's talking about that a little bit earlier today, and she's adding notes as I talk about what this is. So there's the bug for the item alerts, notes, tags, and templates rework that is in progress, and we're looking at planned for 315. Yeah, and so here we've left a note last time to look for Feedback Fest. It's an opportunity to review, and again, Feedback Fest is coming up on a date that I said much earlier. Yeah, we'll see.
I just checked the roadmap for 315, and it does include this.
Oh, perfect.
Template and item ant, as I've been calling it. Item ants.
I like ant. I like that. That's better than Ian, which I've seen, the IAN. Trying to scroll back up and put the note about Feedback Fest. Nope, wrong place. Okay, here we go. Just put the dates there. We might get an opportunity to look at it. So yeah, so it's still in the roadmap. Good news. Yeah, right. Okay, I'll go with maybe. This is the date. Yeah. And there's the roadmap. Okay, so we had talked a little bit about what that is, but yeah, I like ant better than Ian. So here we are, up to the program now. I want to talk a little about Bug Squashing Week. Yeah, Kate, parts batch update. You heard it here first. It's going to be available in 315, and it's already been committed to 315. This isn't one of those maybes. It's actually there.
I'm stoked.
Yep, indeed. Okay, bug squashing. I did not get to participate nearly as much as I would have liked to, but here we go. There was success because lots of people did. Here are the numbers. It's just we're celebrating 44 sign-offs, patches committed, new rebased updated, new bug reports. Overall, 311 pieces of feedback that were provided. That's huge. Well, I should scroll just so everybody can be recorded and then the message of who participated. Not calling out names, but thank you if you did participate. And they're the authors of new rebased or signed off branches. If you have not participated in Bug Squashing Week, it's an excellent thing to do, and the barrier to get involved is so very low because Taryn sends out wonderful information on how to access these various servers. This is the tracking sheet from last time, so here are the test servers and the things that were put out for testing. We can look at some of these where we had fixes committed. Actually, I think look at the pull request, that might be easier. Oh, we'll look at the patches that were signed off. There we are. Cataloging, we had quite a few fixes actually, which is nice to see. So the part hold list includes parts where items are not holdable. That was fixed. Nice. Angular Parts Manager grid configuration changes. That's just keeping your column picker, making sure that gets saved. That was related to us. Some other things about Z3950, that clear form. And then some more changes to the holdings editor, because we're always going to be changing the holdings editor. Because we're always going to have ideas about changes we want to the holdings editor, but this is a nice one to make sure you can highlight things that you've changed. I particularly missed that a lot. And so anyway, I just wanted to see if there was anything particular anybody had tested here that they wanted to highlight, anything you're particularly excited about. Other than that, we can see that changes just continuing to come our way. Things that we've reported, like the mark edit character map was missing, that's back. Exciting. Let's see what else we have. Anything else catalog or typos? So things that didn't get committed or signed off on are still out there. So I do believe that the invitation is open if there's anything that has a pull request on it, and here the open pull request on that second tab there, that have not been committed. And if you do not have access to a test server and you want somebody to apply a particular patch for a bug to a test server so you can test it, we can contact Taryn if you don't have a direct access to a system admin, and she will make that happen. Given her own, yeah, in her own time. Let's don't overwhelm her. But if there are things you want to test, let her know. Some of these may even still be open. I know that I tried to check some of these and it's really rather specific. You needed to have old data to be able to test whether or not it worked. So anyway, some of these are kind of are going to need some very specific testing. But most of these cataloging were all on one server last time. So here you go. Some of these are still ready to test too. Here you go. And some of it is just cleaning up the database too, getting rid of some old stuff, which is always nice. Okay. Anything anybody wants to highlight or talk about specifically? It's a good time for you to scroll through. Like, it's just nice to have quiet time to scroll through the bug squashing list from time to time. So take your time. So anything while we're together, let know. Interested in reports myself. Well, I will get over there. So then I wanted to talk about the conference. I said today was going to be more business, more updates than anything else. Last time we talked about potential proposals that could be submitted, and I left the list here. This is our list from our last meeting. Because if we didn't get proposals submitted on these things, we can pick them up as a working group or an interest group. We're an interest group. We can pick those up throughout the year. A couple of notes I did want to say is that the regular, we got new record bucket functionality. I know Carol and I kind of chatted about that, but I believe Elizabeth's usual buckets and baskets, oh my, is what I'll call it. It goes on and on and on because we keep adding things. Has been submitted. Thanks for that. There is a bib frame. I'm just telling you this as far as I know. This is not an official list of any kind that's been submitted or approved. But according to everything I know of as now, there was a bib frame proposal that was presented. This panel discussion we talked about last time with expanding the SORI for authorities, but also just looking at reparative and restorative work. We talked about different classification schemes, different taxonomies, and what Evergreen can do now. And anyway, so we really talked about options to have a panel to just have a conversation about this, and that's going to happen. So Katie put that together. I don't think she's here. Nope. But that was submitted. And then we know Link Checker, the admin group's picking up. Hey, so we'll have that conversation, but not as a conference proposal, not this year, not as far as I know. So I wanted to pause here, pre-conference topics, because as far as I know, other than the link checker, thanks to Elizabeth and the admin group there, we're going to start that conversation. None of these others, again, as far as I know, were submitted as proposals. I would like to tackle these, and members of the organizing group, I'll keep coming back to you to kind of help with that. But regular expressions we've been talking about for so long, I'd like to see us pick that up sometime as an interest group. Perhaps in April will give us enough time to prepare for it. But I didn't want to prioritize just on my own. Are there other topics on this list that you think you'd like to see us discuss as an interest group, but would be a priority over regular expressions? So I'm trying to prioritize now as I'm planning for the next 6 months or so. I'm going to put a star because that will help me. This is my fancy way of categorizing priority. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. No, oops, I got you. Number one. Great. Mine too. So that's 2 votes for number 1 for regular expressions. 3 votes for regular expressions. I'm going to count for systems. 4 votes for regular expressions. Okay, that's what we'll do. So this is the one we will pick up. And Mary raised her hand. 5 votes for regular expressions. Or you have a question. One or the other, Mary. Okay, so I'll highlight that one. So this is what we'll pick up and start planning then. So planning for April. I say April because March is just way too, it's just too too soon. So planning for April.
I'm curious about the electronic resources workshop. Is
Mm.
this how to catalog electronic resources? How to batch edit electronic resources? What is there a focus?
I'm looking to see if Jessica Efron is here. That was her suggestion earlier. I think it's kind of the holistic point of this. Okay, so right now, moving to discovery layers, people don't have to add those electronic resources. But if you don't have a discovery layer, it's the management of that and the batch management. I'm going to just put a note in here of resources. So yes, loading them in and then making sure that they're applied, for the accessible only to particular libraries. There's a particular workflow for that. But then what do you do when you have to get rid of them?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's what she was talking about. It's not just okay, how do you set up your holdings import profile, that kind of thing, which you don't really have holdings anyway, but the whole Vandalay piece, it's not just that, but once they're in the system.
Was
The only
that
thing
also
I want to do with electronic resources is get them out of my catalog.
Yep, yep. Mm-hmm.
was that also including the Aspen sideload, or was that something
No, that's something
different?
different, and Aspen needs to be on our list.
Okay, I'm glad someone mentioned it because I've been waiting. I was going to wait till the end of the meeting, but
That's
I
good.
realize I haven't been here in several months. So I didn't know if Aspen had been a point of discussion recently because as our consortium is, more libraries are coming on to Aspen, we are quickly learning that we are having to learn how to catalog in Aspen.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And
I
it's a
wouldn't.
whole nother subset of, it's a whole nother knowledge base that we need. And I'm not complaining for sure, but even just a cheat sheet would help me because I haven't even really jumped in it, but I have questions coming to me regularly, that's for sure. And as the person who people come to know the things, I don't know the things this
Mm-hmm.
time.
I don't think we do any cataloging in
No,
Aspen.
we don't either, but there's,
Is it
merging
that group?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
there's group things and there, yeah.
So I will say that CW Mars did hire someone specifically to do, I call her the Aspen Guru. I can't remember what her title is. Um, so we thought, at least one person was worried there might not be enough for that person to do after we launched, but they're constantly working. Um, so theoretically, we could have Sierra come and talk with us as well.
I would love to know more about Aspen specifically from a cataloging, like background
Mm-hmm.
perspective.
Well,
We,
Sierra did work as technical services librarian, I think it was, at a library in our consortium before.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Sierra is awesome.
Because like I said, I'm super excited for Aspen. I know that it's already helped us immensely, but it is just a whole new subset of things that several of us really need to be familiar with now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
I know it's not technically evergreen, but
It
A
is.
lot more are using it, and
Right.
Sierra
But
has kind of ended up as the Aspen for Evergreen users facilitator
yeah,
accidentally. So, also good person because there are quite a few Evergreen users.
I was just scouring my email because I remember it was over a year ago that we had a couple Aspen interest group type things meetings, but I hadn't seen anything from that group for quite a while, and I didn't know if it was me, if I wasn't on the group anymore, or what. But so if that is still a thing, I would appreciate a link to either if it is a listserv to sign up on it. If it's not, if I could, whomever I need to speak with to get on the list.
it's
I will talk to Sierra, who is in the office next to me after this meeting is over.
Awesome.
yeah, just to share again, this is just my point of view. There's nothing official about this, but it's my understanding that the two separate groups stopped so that there would just be one, so that now the Aspen for Evergreen Users group actually is something that's facilitated through the primary Aspen group rather than
Yeah, I
having,
think that might be correct.
and
Okay.
just to not talk terribly vague. So it's not a Bywater group talking about Evergreen and Aspen and an Equinox or an Evergreen group talking about it's now just an Aspen Evergreen use. So they've been consolidated into one.
And also for those who may not be attending them but do use Aspen, there
Mhm.
is a very active Aspen catalogers group that I tend to have a lot of suggestions for them.
There's a Slack channel too.
Well, there is a Slack channel. I don't deal with that just because
Yeah.
enough going on. But
Enough to
but there is a monthly Aspen catalogers group that, suggests and kind of votes on changes we would like to see from the catalogers perspective.
That must have been where I fell off of the whatever happened when it consolidated. I was not
Mhm.
so
Okay, yeah, well, that
um,
one's separate. That one, let me see.
but thank you for the discussion. I'm glad that there's more interest than just me. And obviously there's been discussion in these other groups as well. So
Yeah.
there's somewhere I can go when I figure out how to get there.
And I
I
think it's
will
entirely appropriate to bring it to this group
find
too. So
the
yeah.
community notes, which has the link to the meetings. So monthly on the third Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And here's the link to the meeting notes, which also includes a Zoom link. And it just keeps getting added, the agendas and meeting notes to that same link.
Thank you, Carol. That's great.
You're welcome. That's been catalogers meeting notes. I will update that.
There you go. Perfect. So yeah, and I think it would be wonderful to have Sierra to join us to do a presentation, even as early as March would be great if she's available March 11th.
I will talk
But
to
on her
Sierra.
own time, we can schedule something different if she's not available that day. But
Well, we don't have a, big evergreen upgrade that we're doing in April now that we have to get
that's
ready
right. What
for.
else will she be doing? I'm just kidding. Just kidding. One of the things about Aspen is, of course, their point releases every month. So it's I think it might be something we just add to our list here because it is adjacent clearly to the purview of this particular group because the cataloging you do in Evergreen obviously gets sent over to Aspen and then used. But we can, other than side loading, well, it's exactly that. Keeps you from having to load data into Evergreen. But anyway, we can. I think there are a variety of different topics we could cover, but just a nice general presentation would be good. Thanks, Carol. Appreciate you organizing that for us.
You're welcome.
So that's no longer a question mark. That's a period. Okay. Fabulous. That case, so we've got, just to recap, for our group in April, we'll look at doing regular expressions. And then also for our group, maybe in March, but just whenever we can schedule it, we'll pick up Aspen as another high priority of things we want to talk about in the next few months. I can find the highlighting button there. There we go. And then as soon as sorry, I'm still trying to highlight and talk at the same time. There we go. As soon as the Evergreen conference schedule comes out, we'll look at that too and make sure we highlight particular things that are related to cataloging. I believe there will be probably one or two Aspen presentations. I'm not sure how related they are to cataloging they will be, but opportunity to ask questions. The Evergreen conference. Okay. That said, I just had collaborative code review here because that's where we had last time. another opportunity to look at pull requests. It's really all I had today. It was really kind of more planning and seeing what kind of questions you had. So anything else anybody on your minds you want to bring to the group while we have an extra 10 minutes? You're not limited to 10 minutes, let me say that. Anything else you want to bring to the group? Okay, well, I won't keep you any longer than is necessary. It's a good conversation. Thank you all for being here today. Certainly help for planning and what the next few months are going to look like. And if you're available, come to the February 18th admin users group. No, I keep calling you admin users. Is that the right thing, Elizabeth? That doesn't sound like the right thing. Admin.
I don't know what the official name is.
Evergreen admin group. Admin
working group. Yeah, we kind of just call ourselves whatever we want.
There you go. Oh, yes. Go to the admin thing on February 18th and permissions working group on the 25th. Authorities next week on the 19th. I should put that date on there, but there we go.
Also,
and apparently this Aspen meeting is the 20th.
There you go.
The Aspen catalogers meeting.
Mm-hmm. So let's just recap at the bottom. We'll recap all the meetings. And you don't have to stick around for me to do this, but okay. Upcoming meetings of interest. So we have on the 19th, nope, the 18th is admin working group to talk about the link checker. 219 authorities. Did you say 220, Kate, was Aspen catalogers?
Yes.
225 is permissions group. Cataloging permissions. Okay, that's a lot
And
this month.
acquisitions. It's tomorrow, I think.
Tomorrow is the
12th, yeah. Lots of crossover.
Lots of crossover, especially if you're moving to a 314 or 350. Okay. Now I'm just formatting and okay. Nice little recap. So we'll be busy the next few weeks till we get back together on March 11th. It's our next group. Okay. Elizabeth, consider volunteering to help with tabular release. Yes, you don't have to do that on a particular day. Any day. Any day. Tabular release notes. Pretty please. Oh, there we go. Contact me or Elizabeth. There we go. Ready? Okay. Well, then that should do it for today. Thank you all so very much. See you at any number of these meetings in February.
Thanks for the discussion, guys.
Welcome back. We missed you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.